directly related to their complaints about Tom Buchanan. And after, as you saw from the timeline, the Attorney General's office essentially told them to seek an ethics opinion or have the Ethics Commission deal with the situation rather than the Attorney General's office issuing a statement or interpretation. And so that's what we did. We compiled a rather detailed complaint about the different ways in which Tom Buchanan's role as president of the Youth Farm Bureau conflicts with his role on the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. We submitted it. They said they had never seen a complaint so long. And we detailed the different rules that he felt he was in breach of. And I'm just going to go over those briefly with you and tell you a little bit about the...
Could you use the mic more?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? More?
Is the mic more?
I don't know. Is this one working?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Testing. New batteries don't last these days.
The first complaints we made were under the misuse of office rules, which prohibit state officials from using their office to gain a personal advantage or an advantage for their members of their family or for one of their business interests. And as you know, the Farm Bureau has a lot of interest in bringing up more water around the state. One of the things that Tom Buchanan is referred to as the cash cow of their organization is their insurance business. And when there's more water available, there are fewer claims for against crop insurance policies. So this is just one example of how his business can directly financially benefit from more water in the state. And so we also complained about his use of his role on the board, specifically in his campaign to become president of the Farm Bureau. There were a few, I want to say, interviews and other news articles posted during the time he was trying to get that position, and it's our understanding that that position provides a salary of over $100,000 a year and access to other benefits. And so we felt that this was using his position on the board to gain a financial advantage for himself. So that's one of the things we brought up. There was also, as we talked about a little bit before, the lawsuit between the Farm Bureau and the Water Resources Board. And it's not clear from the record. It appears that he participated in some of the closed sessions of the Water Resources Board in which some information, their consultations with their attorney, the Water Resources Board attorney, spoke on the lawsuit directly. And essentially he had access to information that he, as the president of the Farm Bureau, should not have had access to. There are other rules that we felt he violated. There's a representation of others rule when he's acting in his role on the Water Resources Board. He's really acting as an impartial official and not representing any particular interests or his own interests, but making an impartial judgment and decisions on behalf of the people of Oklahoma and not on behalf of his employer or his organization. And so there were several instances, and as we noted, he said that he abstained or stayed out of the proceedings when his interests were directly at issue. However, the rule actually states that you can't participate in discussion or attempt to influence the proceedings in any way when you have a financial interest. And it was clear from the minutes of the board that he had participated, even if he had refrained from voting on those matters. There was still quite a bit of attempted influence. So those were some of the main reasons that we brought a complaint against him with the Ethics Commission. I believe we submitted that in May, early June. And over the summer, the Ethics Commission conducted an investigation And the end result was that they reached a settlement, essentially what is a settlement agreement with Tom Buchanan. And this agreement is actually part of the public record, it's available, so it's not a lock and key. Initially, there are some rules with the Ethics Commission that talk about the disclosing that you have brought a complaint with the Ethics Commission and those leading to a misdemeanor and fines. However, after speaking with the Ethics Commission General Counsel, they've informed us that those rules are no longer in place because they were found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of Oklahoma. So at this point, we feel comfortable discussing the matter more openly and explaining what went on. We were really trying to obey the rules as we moved forward with this action. So essentially, to get rid of all of these claims against him, the Ethics Commission asked Tom Buchanan to make some promises. So he had to sign this document, and by the way, the complaint and then this settlement agreement, I believe, are going to be made available on the website soon. If you have limited access, I've brought some copies with me this evening, so come see me. And I also have copies of the Attorney General's letter back to the senators that wrote in to complain to him. So I have copies of all those materials if you have limited access to the website later. Tom Buchanan had to acknowledge that he was a public official, that these ethics rules did in fact apply to him, that under the rules, his duty was to be independent and impartial, that his policy decisions had to be made through the established processes and not by going outside of those processes, that he should not use his office to obtain private benefits, that he needed to avoid action that appeared to be inappropriate. So even if, once you delve down into the actual facts that it wasn't inappropriate, he needed to avoid even appearing to be influencing the board in an improper way. One of the other things that he agreed to do was to consult with the Ethics Commission if he felt like he was going to be in violation or he could potentially be in violation of the ethics rules. And he did promise that in instances where he has acquired confidential information because of his job, he understands that that is confidential and he cannot disclose it or use it for his own personal benefit. So those are some of the things that he had to agree to. This discharges the claim that we brought against him. However, it does set forth a very clear set of standards that he needs to abide by. I actually spoke with the General Counsel after we received this resolution, and his sort of take on it was that the Commission is more interested in helping officials learn how to do their jobs correctly. It's more about a preventative measure, and that they are not particularly inclined to dish out the punishments that they are able to dish out. Now that being said, I think that if multiple complaints, if the behavior continues, it will increase the chances at least of getting a more, I think, gratifying outcome rather than just promises or a signature. But at the end of the day, this is an issue that is not commonly dealt with by the Ethics Commission. They don't get questions of these complex relationships between funds and the conflicts of interest that arise from them. If this had been a situation where he had been a candidate and he had been, receiving inappropriate donations or something like that, they would have known exactly what to do. And this issue was just a little bit more complex, and they couldn't quite, they didn't want to act too hastily, and so they did act with some restraint here. But I think that overall it was definitely a wake-up call to him, that Tom Buchanan has basically gotten a list of things that he should not do that are inappropriate under the law and that are more clearly identifiable now that that ruling is in place. So that's the work that we did for the Oklahoma's for Responsible Water Policy this year. And again, let me know if you need a hard copy of any of these documents. I have them sitting right over here on the end. So thank you guys for having me tonight. I appreciate it.